spoiled a perfectly good Sunday evening with that game winner capping off a brilliant night and a 27-point second half. The Spurs beat the Mavs by a bucket. Hi there, Dana Larson, along with Jeff Skin Wade and former Mav Devin Harris. And Devin, obviously, you give DeMar DeRozan so much credit. Unfortunately, it came at the expense of the Mavs and their broken hearts.
Yeah, he came in the second half and really was aggressive. I think we kind of talked ourselves up a little bit, talking about finally sweeping the Spurs, and it just didn't happen tonight. They came out and played with just a little bit more desperation. You can tell the second half that DeMar had, he just didn't want to lose, kind of took over that second half, I think 27 of his 33, and just really aggressive and obviously hitting the game winner as well.
He was incredible. That dude was incredible. And, you know, we talked about it a little bit during the broadcast, just even the way the Spurs played defense tonight. You know, this 5-game losing streak they're on, there was a couple overtime losses, and they just lost to the Nuggets. They were done losing. They did not want to lose. It was a really, you know, sometimes after these games, Devin, you're really frustrated. Or there's a lot of things that bug you. I mean, quite frankly, I thought both teams played really, really well. And I thought San Antonio did everything they had to do in order to not have a 6-game losing streak. And DeRozan was huge.
They were scrappy and feisty and desperate, Devin, right? And that's a dangerous team.
It is, but it just fits the typical Spurs and Mavericks rivalry. You know, one team is really, you know, having a good year and expected to sweep, and then a team comes out of nowhere and just really plays well. And, you know, it's typical of what we've been used to playing over the decades, and it's no different tonight. Obviously, DeRozan, Murray having monster games and, you know, just eking out a win over us.
Yeah, and, you know, they threw a lot of different looks at Luka, but it was pretty clear when they were going to go with all these guards on him. The Mavericks were pretty content in letting Luka operate out of the paint area and making some pass out of those areas, getting some buckets out of those areas. But, you know, it's really hard to complain when a guy who has 27 second-half points hits a game winner with 0.5 left. This was a great game. This was a great battle, and there's just disappointment that the Mavericks didn't get it done.
I mean, and it's a tough shot, but we talk about Luka getting to his spot. This is DeMar DeRozan's spot. You know, step back right, left elbow, over an extended hand. But, like, the way he had it going in rhythm, I mean, there's not much else you can do to guard that, except maybe send another defender towards him.
Yeah, and they're trying to get the switch there to get Luka on him. Dorian still stayed with him. He contested the shot. He did what you want to do. You don't want to go jumping into the dude and put a 88% free throw shooter at the line at the end of a game. So, I mean, hats off to the guy. He made an incredible play.
Incredibly skilled vet who's been very good at what he does best for a long, long time. And we saw it there. And that was just, you know, seconds after the Mavs had a very patient and very productive possession of their own, Devin, ending with a bucket that tied things up. And it seemed almost, you know, inevitable that this was going to overtime.
It was. I mean, they were patient and, you know, the offensive rebound, what they do. But, you know, Luka, you know, really getting to the paint and understanding the situation, gets to his spot, shoots his floater, you know, tie game. But the Mavs did a great job of really executing late, getting back into the game. Even used a little hack-a-shack, little scenario situation there to kind of, you know, turn the tides a little bit. But this is a typical, you know, Dallas-San Antonio game down to the wire. Just DeMar DeRozan was a little bit better than our two monsters were tonight.
Boy, look at those numbers, too, for Luka and KP combined, getting 60 points on 38 shots and 18 rebounds and 25 assists. You know, and of course, at the end of the game, you don't have KP in there because DeRozan drew that 6th foul from him. I believe that was an N1 situation. So that was an incredible battle. It did hurt not having KP down the stretch, because not only Dana was he able to hit big buckets and get rebounds, but DeRozan, when he was operating, had to think about Porzingis being back there if he gets by that first line of defense to block shots and give some help defense.
Always that anchor of the defense, a problem because he may block it or alter your shot or your thinking as you're going at him. And this is coming on the heels of the best half of basketball in KP's career, right? Figured we'd be talking more about that in a winning case after a 20-10 first half for Kristaps Porzingis. Devin, as you were watching this, what was your perspective on the way things were working for him?
It looked really easy for him in the first half. half, but you got to understand the teams will make adjustments. They did that. Not as aggressive in the second half, but he stayed with it, moved the ball, played within himself, played within the team offense. And I thought he had a great second half as well. But like I said, from foul trouble, DeRozan being really aggressive kind of forced him to, take a seat early, and I think that hurt us in the last couple possessions.
I love what you said, too, Devin, about him doing it within the flow of the offense. In the second half, he very easily could have come out and been like, feed me, but he was moving the ball. He wasn't forcing up a bunch of bad shots. He was taking advantage of situations, and that's the way that it's going to be with this team. KP and Luka are such dynamic offensive players. It opens up opportunities for other guys to step up and make buckets. Luka and KP don't have to come down every single time and force up shots. I didn't feel like either one of those guys were forcing shots tonight, and they both put up really incredible offensive numbers.
Knew it was going to be a tough one tonight. Tough back-to-back here. The front end, the Spurs, the back end, Philadelphia. And we don't know for sure if KP will be available tomorrow. Felt like he was leaving it all out there tonight, unfortunately, in a losing effort. Let's get reaction now from the head coach.
Tough loss, a disappointing loss. You look at the stats.